Record to the cloud. All right, let's start us off with a prayer. Placing my hands on my heart and taking that deep cleansing breath of love and gratitude. So grateful for this time to come together with these precious souls, grateful for our willingness to remain open-hearted, open-minded, to seeing the truth and not what our egos say the truth is, allowing ourselves to surrender that which is not helpful to our lives of love. We're so grateful for our dedication or our devotion to living the teachings of A Course in Miracles, to living the teachings of Jesus, to living a life of love and service and compassion with and for and as each other. We're so grateful for our mighty companions that walk with us and talk with us each and every day. And we ask them to join us now, to surround and support us, to bless our conversation, to bless all those here, all who may listen later, all who are dealing with challenges of any kind in this world and beyond. And we're so very grateful that we get to share the blessings of our conversations and the light that we are allowing to dawn in our hearts and our minds. We share it with everyone because we are one with them. In grace and divine gratitude, we let it be. And so it is. Amen. All right. So choose once again. Chapter 31, section 8, the very last section of the text in the FIP version of the book. And I'm going to start us off with paragraph 4 and a part of 5, where Jesus says, "The images you make cannot prevail against what God himself would have you be. Be never fearful of temptation then, but see it as it is, another chance to choose again, and let Christ's strength prevail in every circumstance and every place you raised an image of yourself before. For what appears to hide the face of Christ is powerless before his majesty and disappears before his holy sight. The saviors of the world who see like him are merely those who choose his strength instead of their own weakness, seen apart from him. They will redeem the world, for they are joined in all the power of the will of God. And what they will is only what he wills. Learn then the happy habit of response to all temptation to perceive yourself as weak and miserable with these words." And I circled and highlighted these and wrote next to it, "Say it out loud with fervor and conviction," just as Gandalf in Lord of the Rings when he was, "None shall pass, none shall pass. I am as God created me. His son can suffer nothing, and I am his son." Like, pound your fist on the table. And that just felt like any moment when I'm feeling weak or challenged in any way, I can acknowledge that I'm feeling that way. I can love that part of myself that is feeling that way and treat it with compassion and kindness. But dang it, I am as God created me. His son can suffer nothing, and I am his son. Period. End of story. And that just feels like everything else that came before that very moment can just like float away like a cloud. Yeah. So that's where I'm starting us this week. Who else would like to share? Carla, welcome back.
Thank you. I'll try to really keep it condensed, but I'll just go through most everything I've highlighted. So the first paragraph, the first line, temptation has but one lesson. It would teach in all its forms, however it occurs. It would persuade the Holy Son of God he is a body, born in what must die and unable to escape its frailty. I could probably read that whole thing, but go to the second paragraph, maybe the second, third line are not numbered. And what you choose is what you think is real. And then the third paragraph, the first couple lines, and it's trials are but lessons that you failed to learn, presented once again, so that where you made a faulty choice before, you now can make a better one. There's other stuff, but
good morning, ladies. 9:25 with Emily Messina. I can't remember.
Sorry, I got her. She's muted now.
so I'll read that. And here I am, I'm in my house. I rented it to someone I thought was a handyman. I thought was going to take care of it for me. I don't want to cry, but it's all about forgiving myself for having made that choice. Because not only did he not do anything, he didn't even go on. It's like, it's interesting. Just used up my house and made money at it, and then left all the stuff that I have to pick up. So this is a very big lesson for me. The mind wants to get upset every time I come across like the tub won't drain well and the dryer didn't turn on and the refrigerator was turned off and there's dirt everywhere and I'm gonna stop speaking. All right, I don't know how to do it, so I got stuff. So this is a lesson for me. To think this world is real? I mean, when you believe more in what you don't see and what you do see, you will see what you don't see and you won't see what you do see. I'm still working on that one. But what this is, it looks like, I mean, I don't know if I have all the money to take care of this, but I don't know. Maybe I do. I give it to God, whatever. I mean, I know the dryer works now, rinse now. I can do that. I don't know. Well, we didn't do anything except clean the filter and looked like they'd never done it. But it's working now, and things are actually like I have a vacuum, an old vacuum I left that the switch didn't work. You had to plug it in. The switch works. Not that I'm going to use a switch, but I'm like amazed. We don't know how we're helped we think we know, we see things. I see that what needs to be done. My arm is hurting actually, and the mind wants to go to like all this separation and all this judgment, all this upset. I do forget sometimes. And I bless him as much as I can, because when I judge him or curse him or whatever, judging is actually a form of cursing. But what I'm doing is the energy is flowing through me. So I'm cursing myself. I'm not interested in doing that. I do fall down a lot. And I get back up and I put one foot in front of the other. How do you walk out of hell? You don't walk out of hell by sitting down and staying right where you are. You get out of hell by putting one foot forward, choosing one thought that's more loving, by seeing, I mean, it's anything you choose, really. But I'm willing to feel my feelings of sadness and know that I'm so blessed by this lesson. It's huge. I mean, I'll never forget this. I can't imagine if I get Alzheimer's, I'll forget this. This is very challenging. So grateful for this lesson, because I don't want to pray and ask for forgiveness and try to make it different and have it go away. No, I'm willing to let it be as it is, get the full benefit out of the learning that I can. I don't know, I don't have to get learning, but I'm willing. And I remember when I used to talk to my sister, she asked me once, what would you change about yourself if you could change, or change something that happened? I'm like, I didn't think about what I answered. I just said it. Wouldn't change a thing. Because if I change anything that got me to where I am right now in this awareness, I could be someplace else. So I'm grateful for all my challenges. They're not really challenges, they're blessings. And I'm naming them as challenges. Just like God named everything. He gives us all the power, everything he has. He gives us everything. And naming this bad and this wrong and this, that, whatever. I don't know what's gonna happen, or if I'm gonna fully shift, or what that is. Exactly. But I'm willing. I'm like, the course says it just takes a little bit of willingness. Later on, it says we're gonna read it in Manual for Teachers, it takes a lot of willingness. And then in Course of Love, it says total willingness. That's where I'm going. That's what I'm allowing.
Thank you, Carla. We're just walking each other home, my friend. Absolutely. Our hearts are with you. Kathy.
Well, I'll just chime right in, Carla. We're certainly in this transformational time of lots of change happening. Lots of things are swirling. I mean, we're just all immersed in so much stuff. So I'm with you there. And what seems to go along with this is something I read aside from what the lessons are, and yet it fits. And what helped me this morning is I went to meditation because I'm in the middle of the hurricane down here mess, and I could be, screaming and crying, and I'm really quite calm. I'm practicing Jennifer's be unbotherable and just be in this place of, seeing that these are opportunities for us. And what I got this morning in meditation was, as I close my eyes and I breathe and I place myself in this silence, trying to go within to my quiet spot and just keep breathing and breathing. And it was suggested to me that I see, as I close my eyes and I sit just breathing, realize that the stillness all around me is but love. Breathe that in. And that's all I shall say. Thank you.
Kathy. I know so many people are dealing with intensity right now. And I'm so grateful that we have each other to lean on, to support each other, to lift each other up when we're feeling like we're not able to do it on our own. It's so important. We are each other's salvation. We really are. Yeah. Carol.
Thank you so much, guys, for even being here. I wasn't going to attend because, I was thinking in my mind after I read, I've been reading the lessons out loud to my husband. And this one was so loving and so positive and so reaffirming. It's hard to even pick a paragraph because they're all so blessed. Just, they're so lovely. But the one that I found was really, really intense and good. Not that the others weren't, but when it's 6, it says you are as God created you. And this is just a follow up on that little thing the little mantra we're supposed to say when things get tough and challenging and uncomfortable. And so he says again, you are as God created you, and so is every living thing you look upon. Don't we forget that real fast? A lot. I do. Because if I don't see what I'm liking or wanting to like or see, I don't think that there is Christ in front of me, or, there's another image of God. I'm not thinking that. So I needed to have that. I needed to hear that. Regardless of the images you see, don't matter what it looks like, it does not. It's a created thing, it's a sentient being, just like we are. What you behold as sickness and as pain, as weakness and as suffering and loss, is but temptation to perceive yourself defenseless and in hell. We think we're just like everybody else walking the earth that doesn't know God, that is separated in their minds. We're not. We have the connection. We know we're connected, but we forget from time to time. And in hell. So there we are. Yield not to this, and you will see all pain in every form, wherever it occurs, but disappear as mists before the sun, just like you said, Linda. Just like you said. A miracle has come to heal God's son and close the door upon his dreams of weakness, opening the way to his salvation and release. Choose every choice you choose once again what you would have him be, remembering that every choice you make establishes your own identity, as you will see it and believe it is. And there's the world we create. That's why it's an illusion. We create that world of good and bad, and that person's bad, and I don't like that. And we separate. And that's the world. And thank God it's an illusion. It isn't real because our perceptions in that direction are not real. And so we're making that world up as we go along in those thoughts. And I never saw it so clearly as I am seeing it now. And I just want to tell you one little thing about what's going on with me. I used to have vertigo. I don't know if I mentioned this to you guys, but I used to have vertigo. It started when my brother passed in 1994. I was extremely, he's my only sibling and I adored him. And when I just had vertigo for like a month. I had difficulty getting out of bed, lifting my head up from a lying down position. It was hell. It was misery. I didn't know why. I mean, I knew I was very, very emotionally upset, probably a lot of turmoil going on in my mind. And so from time to time, it would come back. Once I had it, once in a while, it would reappear. And it came back while I was recuperating from the knee surgery this last spring. And I remembered and learned finally to love that part of myself. That's the healer, to love it. Even though I didn't like it, it was a part of me for whatever time it was there. It was part of me. So I would send love to it every day, or especially if I experienced it, I would just say, well, okay, you're a part of me and I love you. And thank you. And I have no idea when it left, but it's gone. You know how you don't realize? I mean, it's not like this day just happens and you think to yourself, oh, today I didn't even understand. I was like, all of a sudden, it had been several weeks, I imagine, and I have not had it. The other little thing is, and I know this is silly, but I'm going to tell you, I could not wear nail polish for the longest time. If I wore nail polish, it would flake my nails, it would make ridges in my nails. And I love wearing nail polish. I love it. I have really good nails for nail polish, but my nails didn't like the polish or something. Well, now, the last several weeks, I wear nail polish and I take it off and nothing's wrong with my nails. They're perfectly healthy and fine. And I said, my husband was like, what are you doing different? Are you taking a different vitamin? What do you? And I said, no, Chari, I really think I'm just healthier because my brain and my mind and my thoughts are loving more than they used to be. In other words, I'm crossing over to the part where I love more readily than I judge, or you know what I mean? So the shift is beginning to, and it's in these these little parts of my life that I have no explanation for other than I trust that I'm growing on my path and that love is becoming more a part of who I am than it used to be. And so I don't have any other answer, but I am so blessed to realize that yes, it love will do that. It will heal us. And so as I learn to be more loving to myself and especially with my poor husband, who is, I used to beat him up so badly. I have to admit that to you guys. Find fault all the time. And the poor thing, he would say things like, am I okay, Carol? You're not upset with me, are you? And I mean, every now and then, that's what and it's just so different now. So I just wanted to share that little tidbit with you. That's really not a whole lot, but I'm noticing and it's lovely and I'm enjoying it. And I have to I've share it with you guys. So I love you and thank you for this time together. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Carol. I'm so grateful for your healing and your journey of love, because it fills my heart because I know we're all on that same path.
Yep,
Yeah,
we are. So, hey, if it's happening with me, it's happening with you.
all of us. Yes,
There's no
absolutely.
difference. There's no distinction. Absolutely
Absolutely.
none. None.
Yeah. Thank you, sweetie. Derwin.
Well, and Carol,
Oh, go ahead, Deborah.
I'll just add this. I mean, I keep reading and hearing that the body and mind are one. They're one and the same. And I'm not saying that I fully understand that concept or grasp it yet, but what Carol is describing is that concept, that the body and mind are actually one.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, and the mind is what created the body, that the body is not real.
Right.
I am not a body. Yeah. Thank you, Deborah.
You're
Derwin.
welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Linda. Good afternoon, good morning, lovely ladies from the Netherlands. First off, congratulations, Linda, with the final chapter. And I started 1 year ago, but I love this group. I come here for my peace. This is my work. But on Tuesdays, at the end of my work, I remain here so that I can, when I can, to just check in with you all. And for this, exactly this. Thank you. Even for Catherine's meditation, I went, when you were describing it, Catherine, I was taking my meditation and I was releasing my breath as well, and I felt it. So thanks. What I want to share about this chapter, choose once again. I wrote down a few things, especially when I read paragraph 3. So the third one, trials are but lessons that you fail to learn presented once again. So where you made a faulty choice before, you now can make a better choice, a better one, and thus escape all pain that what you chose before has brought to you. In every difficulty, all distress, and each perplexity, Christ calls to you and gently says, my brother, choose again. Choose again and again and again and again and again and again. Yeah, I'm really learning that, to choose again, that I have the option to choose again. And what I experience when I talk to others around me about healing the mind, about reminding also my brothers and sisters who are not in the same community, who are maybe more religious and less spiritual, or doesn't matter, that we can choose again and again and again, and that this is my healing, they say to me now and then. Derwin, when does that healing end? I've done some healing, I've been through that 2 or 3 years, but when does the healing end? And then I see the name of this chapter, choose again, once again, every day. So while I read this piece, I wrote down, of course, decluttering. I choose again to declutter the mind. It's a healthy thing to go to the toilet every day for number 2. It's very healthy. Why? Because we have to release the body from everything. So yeah, we release the mind stuff too, the mind clutter. And like Jennifer said, we remove the blocks to love there. Yeah? And yeah, we can choose that. Otherwise, we slow down the spiritual growth. So decluttering to me is as well preventing spiritual obstipation. I wrote down spiritual obstipation. Yes, I will keep on choosing every day, again and again and again, because I am decluttering every day, again and again and again. And what am I decluttering? All my judgments, all my condemnations, attack, criticism, you name it, condemnations. I'm sorry, Duru, and I'm sorry for the bodily reaction that I had. I love you. Oh, I love the things that we are being taught. Thank you.
Thank you, Derwin. Thank you so much. Leslie?
Yes, great shares, everybody. Thank you so much. Just, I had highlighted everything everybody had written, and wow, the end of chapter 31, we did it. I'm so, I guess, proud of us. What's it been? Almost, was it 3 years, Linda? I know I joined like 6 months late. Okay, wow, 3.5. And Derwin, I'm at work too, but I take up my lunch hour to do this. They let me. Which is very nice that works out. Carla, I just want to say that you're such an inspiration. You truly, truly are. I mean, seriously, just the whole fact that you can even think about forgiveness right now, is really incredible. And just the language that you spoke and the words you spoke. And I know I can't even imagine. I don't even know the details, and I don't need to know the details, but it's very painful, and you're willing 100%. You're willing, not a little, you're not there 1%, you're 100% there to learn your lessons. And that's inspiring. My question is, because I've been reading Laura Cindy Renard's book on forgiveness. And of course, we all know the atonement is to truly forgive what has never happened, because this is a dream. So whatever somebody did to us truly never happened in this world that we're seeing. My question is about the spiritual bypass, whereas I feel like Carla is not doing that at all, because is a spiritual bypass when, like, if you don't feel your feelings, you're just like, okay, this is a dream, it's not really happening. So is that what a spiritual bypass is? I feel like I don't really get that.
Yeah, that's absolutely what the spiritual bypass is. I mean, when Carla began her share, she said, I'm going to cry.
Right.
And that is completely normal. We are having a human experience. And so absolutely, we allow ourselves to feel the feelings that are coming up, to have the feelings that are coming up, to notice the feelings that are coming up because of what is, because of what our perception is of what is happening around us. And then we realize that we are not alone, that we are not having an especially challenging time. We are not especially blessed. We are not special, period. Everybody has something that they are dealing with. Everybody has something that they are blessed with, that is a God-given gift. Everybody. Because today's the day of the Feast of St. Francis, I want to include all the animals too. It's not just humans. It's every living being, every plant, every animal, everything is blessed. Everything has things that seem challenging, and acknowledging that is part of the journey. Acknowledging it, loving ourselves through it, knowing that when we are feeling like we're the only ones in the world going through this and nobody understands us, then that's the time when it's time to love ourselves. And that's the time to say, like Jennifer says, sweetheart, darling. Yeah.
Right. So even though, I mean, Carla sounds like she has a mess to clean up, and that's the world, that's the physical world that this body, this waking dream is going through. And I don't know about you guys, but my waking life is way better than my dreaming life, because I have terrible, I don't have good dreams. And so even though Carla has to clean up this mess, then she can more, I'm sorry, Carol, I hope you don't mind me using you as an example right now. Okay. To feel your feelings and then to say to yourself that you forgive yourself for dreaming these up, the whole Ho'oponopono. And then just like that old saying, even after enlightenment, you still have to do the laundry. That's what that means, right? That she still has to
Exactly.
clean up the mess, even though
Yeah.
it's her dream. She's having this waking dream, and in the waking dream, it includes cleaning up the mess.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
Exactly. I mean, just like Kathy's doing right now too. I
Right.
mean, like her house is kind of a disaster. She's not able to live in it. They don't have power
Oh, really?
or-
I didn't know that, Kathy.
or water, or I mean, yeah. And Kathleen lived through that hurricane too.
Right.
You know, she may not have come out of it with her house in turmoil like Kathy's is, but you know, this stuff, all
Stuff
of this
happens.
stuff is happening to all of us. Every single person here, I can look at every single one of us here and know that we've been through some shit or we're going through some shit. And the thing, doing the spiritual bypass is spiritual constipation, like Jerome was talking about. We got to let that shit go or we're going to become spiritually constipated. So absolutely feel your feelings. Honor
Get
yourself.
angry, whatever.
Yes. Anger can be helpful. It can be a motivator. I am not staying in this space right now. I am not going to allow myself to wallow in self-pity or feel like, the world has it out for me. I am stronger than this.
I am
what
as
I
God
will-
created me. His son can suffer nothing, and I am his son.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Thanks, Leslie.
Thank you.
Mary Lee, go ahead.
I think I'm unmuted.
You are, sweetie.
Okay, well, it has been really helpful to think of the sharing and of what different ones are going through, because it can sometimes feel like it's just me having a problem or whatever. Now I didn't have a hurricane, but moose attacked my car. And I know that sounds just like the State Farm insurance man said, well, I've only heard of 3 or 4 of those in the United States where, I wasn't even in the car and the moose jammed it. I was having dinner with neighbor friends, and then that kind of everything going with that is I missed a couple weeks here with the group, getting the car back and forth and not having the wheels and so forth. But it also attacked their car a little bit. Mine got the worst of it. And then it flung a picnic table over into the bushes. So whatever got into this moose that night, that will remain to be seen, but it's sort of one more, okay. And so far, I've been grateful that I haven't gotten totally upset or, oh, why me, Lord, a type of feeling or anything like that. And I think it helps when we share together that, okay, this one hurricane, this one's house is a mess because of failed, or someone who promised to do some things failed. And that often is I think we, in relationships too, where we feel loved failed. We've got all these other things, but often we can be going around thinking everything's pretty good. I'm happy, I'm good. And then love can fail us, meaning love for another person or the we think the person loves us. That sort of can be the hurricane that comes into our lives. So I do really, really love the thought, choose once again. Just if we can remind ourselves when these hurricanes and things come along to choose again. Are you sure you wanna, there's nothing to be done about this moose, but there's no earthly explanation about it. Other, than moose get upset in the fall sometimes and rut, and who knows, but my car got the butt end of it all. So it's kind of just choosing once again to not forget that we are all connected. We're all going through something in one form or another.
Exactly. And that's why it's so helpful to have each other to do this life together with. Yeah. Thank you, Mary Lee. Yeah, I just imagining like the moose was, maybe he was acting in a State Farm commercial that you had no idea about. We'll see him a few months down the road in the State Farm commercial with the guy that plays Chaos or whatever.
It could be.
Thank you. Mitzi, and then Kathleen, and then Robin.
Okay. Okay, wonderful. We're on a roll.
Say
here.
hello to Mitzi.
Oh,
Hello, Robin and Leslie. Hello down there. So, the idea of spiritual bypass, beginning again, and that the stillness, quietness around us being love. Those three ideas specifically really jumped out at me. And I think hearing Carla talk in the beginning was really powerful for me, because I experience that it is so difficult to recognize what is the lesson, that that idea that a trial is a lesson, and then not to try and skirt it and get out of what feels like the pain. It's like, oh, I have this much tolerance for pain, and then I get to a point and then I'm gonna fix it because I have the remedies, and I want to say that I don't. I don't have the remedies. I don't have the answer. But I'm trying to fix things out of my ego often when I would say a lot of the time, most of the time. And that whole idea of fixing it is from the ego, in my experience. I forget. And what happens when I go try and fix it is that I forget foundational ideas of the lesson, like the whole Ho'oponopono idea, to sit in that. I just really, when I get on a mission to fix it and go, and it's full of distraction, I'll go and distract myself, and it'll be pleasure seeking, or it will be some other remedy that really it's a distraction from what is real and true. And the idea of beginning again, I'll forget that. I'll forget where to begin. So just the idea that, I don't know if anyone is familiar with Michael Singer's work, The Untethered Soul. I see you are. Well, this is my surrender year. And I will say, when he calls it experiment and beginning again, yes. However, here I am. in this wonderful place. And I want to tell you, one of my litmus tests for being in the right place is laughter. Being able to be in a group where people laugh at, you know, and cry and share, you know. So I won't go on longer than just to say I'm very grateful. This lesson is very powerful and deeply meaningful to me, and I am happy to begin again.
Aw,
Thank you.
thanks, Nancy. Yeah, again, so glad to have you here. And Leslie, those kittens, oh my God, so adorable. Oh, you just muted yourself. Oh. Oh, so cute.
They were 5 weeks old when I had them, so they just turned 6 weeks today. This is Brady, and this is Bella.
Aw.
And once they weigh 2 pounds, I have to give them up. So that's fostering is so bittersweet. It truly
Oh, I
is.
can
I mean, I
imagine.
feel like it's such a great thing I'm doing because I mean, think of these two in a cage, you know, it just
Yeah.
makes you sick. But then it just breaks your heart when you have to give them
I
up,
can't
you know.
imagine.
But I'm just gonna say in the present moment, I'm so sorry, Kathleen. I did not mean to interrupt
Okay.
that. I just had to show these two little fuzzy butts.
Dude, so
And they're
adorable.
so healthy and good, you know, they don't, the last two had diarrhea really bad and they were a lot of work, which I still loved every minute of it, but in these two, they have motorboat purrs, they don't run away from you, they just like to cuddle and play and perfect. So happy Animal Day. Thank you, St. Francis. Yes. Go.
Thanks.
Well, I
Leslie.
want you to keep them.
I know.
I have 4 though. It's like, I am not gonna become the cat lady. In more than 4 cats, I become the cat lady. And then I couldn't foster. So this is number 6 and number 7. So
And yeah,
I
I
wish I
get it.
could bring them down to you, Kathleen, and you could have them.
Oh, no, I'm done.
And I have
I've
just
two
a real short story
outside
I'd like to
ones.
share if there's time.
Absolutely, Deborah.
Sure.
Okay, I'll try to make it brief, but I think it fits with this topic for today. And this isn't my story. I borrowed it, so I can't take credit for it, but it did happen. I've been listening to the transcendental meditation calls every day, and one day they were talking about how they're trying to get transcendental meditation put into the schools to improve the school situations. And they were working in this school, and they chose the school bully to work with to teach him to meditate. Might have been a female, but I'm assuming it was a male. Anyway, they taught that student how to meditate. And after a couple of weeks, they asked the student, well, have you noticed any difference? And the student says, yes, I have. When I used to walk down the hallway and somebody would bump into me, I just punch them. Now when I walk down the hallway and if somebody runs into me, I pause and then I punch them. So then the man who leads the call went on to explain how there's this time interval between the stimulus and the response, and that's our time to make that choice. And anyway, I just wanted to share that because I thought it's fitting.
It is perfectly fitting. We may still punch, but at least we're thinking about it first.
Exactly.
Oh, man.
Thank you, Deborah. Kathleen.
You're welcome.
Hi, everybody. Yes, I'm glad and grateful that the hurricane did not hit Tampa and Clearwater. And then I had a little survivor guilt about where it did hit and watching TV that day that it was hitting and just feeling horrified, just sitting there feeling horrified. Oh my God. And then slowly hearing stories, Kathy's story, and my friends who went all the way across the state with their dog and their cat and rented the last motel room available. And it was a motel that was so run down and awful that they had to go buy their own toilet paper and their own sheets. And that the 2 women in the office were doing their best, but they couldn't make this motel suddenly better. But anyway, so their story was amazing to hear. And so I start hearing amazing stories where people are coping and using their skills and, you know, hopefully have a spiritual life that they can hang on to like we have. And then listening to, well, I belong to Reevaluation for Counseling group of people that's around the world. And that's a
system of peer counseling that people have been teaching for 40 years. And there was a reevaluation counseling meeting last night so that we could all discharge our feelings about the hurricane. And it was mostly people from Florida and stuff. So RC knows that it's super important to discharge your feelings about things. They call it discharging, and it's kind of a weird word, but to let out the fear by shaking or crying. And I couldn't really get to the tears until I started talking about the raccoons. And man, that just made me start crying. If I think about animals that are starving because there's so many humans around or whatever, animals upset, and that'll get me crying. So that's called the trigger, and it works really well. And whatever helped you discharge is great. And then also discharging with a person who's safe, who's not going to give you advice. And this crew knows how to do that. And so there's all these overlapping circles of people that are aware of the power of feeling and how you can't think straight. This is an RC's theory. You can't think straight until you've discharged your feelings, and then your clear thinking comes back. And I would say God's clear thinking comes back through us. I just like number 5, learn then the happy habit. That cracks me up. The happy habit of response to all temptation to perceive ourselves as weak and miserable with these words. I am as God created me. You're talking about Linda. His son can suffer nothing. And I am his son. Yes, this is Christ's strength invited to prevail. Great, replacing all your weakness with the strength that comes from God and that can never fail. And thus our miracles, as natural as fear and agony, appeared to be before the choice for holiness was made. It's kind of hard to understand, like miracles. Okay, that's a miracle. Oh yeah, changing my mind, right? Changing my mind. Miracle is changing my mind. Oh, and then not playing small. Change my mind and not playing small. I did Jennifer's Stop Playing Small retreat, and it wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. I thought maybe I would find out that I have not, become some powerful person in the world because I'm playing small, but it's more about like just day-to-day ways of putting myself down and thinking, I can't do that because I'm too old, or I can't do that because I don't know, but I just don't want to. I don't know. So I just think that being together in a group helps us stop playing small and doing things like surrendering and acceptance, all the spiritual tools we have. And then I was listening to Robert Perry and this morning, and he was talking about how if we focus a lot on our spiritual life, then the Course says God will give us everything we need. You don't have to visualize getting a new house or a new job. That if we focus on this, the happy habit of response to temptation, of perceiving ourselves as weak, then things in the world just start to happen perfectly. Although I don't know how I go have you in your house wrecked, Kathy. It feels perfect, but I guess in some way it's got to be. Whereas if you only focus on the dream and visualizing what you want to have happen and stuff, your spiritual life doesn't really take care of itself. So it works to focus on the spiritual life, and then things happen in the dream. But if we just focus on things happening in the dream, then we might get more and more depressed and bummed out, because spiritual life doesn't just take care of itself. We have to focus on God and focus on constantly, improving our trust. Like when we're going to start the manual for teachers, number one characteristic of a teacher of God is trust. And that can be very tricky. But I guess, everything is how we perceive it. So if we can perceive it all as for our good, then we're doing fine. And if we can help each other with money or anything else, like Kathy, I want to drive down there with my RV, my fucking chop saw, and start rebuilding your house.
I can't do anything till I get a roof. It's like, what it's done for me is I've laughed, because I recognize how I could let go of this attachment to this thing called my house. And it's just stuff. And if I died to my body tomorrow, my stuff doesn't go with me. It's just stuff. But, I couldn't have said that some years ago. So that's what the spiritual work has done, is to help me just put it in
Huge.
focus. And then I worked my buns off. That's where I discharged my energy. I picked up shingles. I got in the pool. I became a snorkel magnet to the shingles. And that's what I did, because I could do that. And what else was there to do? But that discharged my energy. So that's that. Thank you for that reminder. I did that.
Yeah, me too. I did everything I could possibly do to clean up our mobile home park. Yeah, we do like to get busy and help each other. That's what's so amazing to me, is when these things happen, is all the help that comes and how much I want to help, how much everyone wants to help. It just seems like it's just brings out like this love and this power that you can really bring to bear on other people's situations. So thanks for letting me share.
Thank you so much, Kathleen. Yeah.
Robin, I know you're going to speak next. I just really quick wanted to ask Catherine, is there anything we can do to help?
No, a lot of people are asking that, and really now is when patience is required, because
So work in the invisible.
Yeah, well, because yes, we're one of hundreds, if not thousands, of people affected. And I have a house with 4 walls and a partial roof. So there you go. So I'm just doing my best. This will be a practice though, you guys, because now I have to stay, or I want to stay. I want to choose to stay in this place of, I'm surrounded by love. I really,
Yes.
truly am. And whatever is supposed to be will be for my highest and best. And even sending these kind of surrounding these people that are looting now, I have to be in this loving place of, geez, what must their life be like, that I cannot condemn them, but if I had a chop saw, then I might be in trouble. But thank you for asking. It's just nice to ask, I guess, but they're literally, what I've told people is donate to the relief funds, do that. That's a really good thing, because a lot of these communities, they can't wait for FEMA. It took FEMA 3 days to get here, and we didn't have running water. Now we had run some, but by 3 days you're going, whoops, I'm running out. So yeah, donate, or you could be a volunteer to help those elderly who can't go out and pick up stuff or get their trees out. So that's a nice way for us to be that loving magnet as a human being to do what we can. So that's my wisdom.
Well, God bless you.
Yeah, Kathy, what town are you in?
I'm in Rotunda West, down by Venice.
Yeah, thanks for asking, Leslie. Robin, did you want to share anything else?
I'm feeling mostly to be quiet, but here I'm looking at Catherine and Kathleen together.
Yeah. Yeah, we got some beautiful Kathys in this group. That's for sure.
And I will say, Kathleen, I took that counseling years and years ago, and to release the toxins, the counselors, as you were taught to be a counselor, you knew what would help the person cry or discharge, and you would go for that. And there was like different ways, and one of them was to cry and one of them was to laugh. And being in this community and being with groups where we're now laughing at, a year ago we would have been all torn up or just totally, down in the dark. And now we can measure and see where we have come. And so that's just that, like Derwin, I believe, was saying, or someone, that this is constant. Well, we're all one. So I know I've misnamed the person who said this, but just that there will always be challenges, but they'll be appropriate to our level of knowing, and it will get, I believe that our potential will become so much higher than what it is. And just showing up today, I've missed a couple. I never miss. I've just had, I don't know what to say about it. It sounds too overwhelming, and yet it's nothing, but there's just like an explosion of life and experiencing it and getting in uncomfortable places and finding yourself in there, and then it works, and that's really cool. Or finding yourself like, God, please, what do I do in this moment, and have no clue. And coming on and seeing Mitzi, we were at a retreat once, and Linda, you were with us. It was the retreat where we wrapped ourselves and looked at the sunrise, or yes, together on that big porch. And Mitzi and I got to be in a room together. We were strangers. I had just signed up the morning of, and it was just, and then drove myself anyway. So it was really a delight to see you, Mitzi, and then to see Catherine and Kathleen. And what is so beautiful is to see Catherine, I've been listening, reading what you're sharing, and just seeing how deeply drenched you are in spirit. And I know you'll have your ups and downs, and as will Kathleen and everyone that really was touched physically. And it's here we come together, and people are laughing. And Mary Lee, I wanted to laugh with your moose story, because all I could get was this image. And I don't want the moose to get hurt, and certainly don't want your car to get, but I wanted to laugh, but I started laughing, and then I'm like, wait a minute, this doesn't sound okay. So I'm glad, Mitzi, you brought that up, and we can laugh about constipation and moose attacking our cars. And that's one of the things that I love in these groups, is that we are able to, and we can laugh. And it is such a discharge and just such a good time. And that in the communities, I'm finding that more and more we're able to do that and kind of lighten ourselves up. And so we're holding each other, even when we're not together. And just the fact that I see us on the same page, whether we just started A Course in Miracles now, or we've been here, or we've come and we've gone and we're coming back, that spirit just brings us all together in the oneness. And that for me, I cry a lot. I don't know if it's aging or what, but it's just, I'm fine. But it means so much. You know, any of our situations and circumstances, it really isn't about that. And it's like Carla taught us years ago. It's about the belief that you're believing in. It's not really has anything to do with, even though it appears. And what has just come up in the last couple of days is, and I know this isn't new, and yet it was really refreshing, whatever the circumstance is, or whatever we're doing right now, it is not about this. What it's about is serving the light and knowing that the oneness and that yearning and that desire to be in oneness together. It doesn't matter what it is that we're sharing. It's opening our hearts and being the oneness. You know, it's the story doesn't matter anymore. And so it feels like a new idea, but I know it's an old familiar one. But just to remind myself that this isn't about what it appears to be about. It's about the oneness and how we draw from that and how we extend. And in knowing that, it just feels inspiring. So thank each of you for showing up and inspiring each other and bringing that oneness closer. Thank you. I wasn't going to talk today.
I'm so glad.
I was waving to Mitzi.
I know.
And I looked like, hey, pick me.
And so we did. And it was perfect. Yeah. Kathleen was going to ask, has anybody heard how Rand is doing? Okay, I'll just have to dig. You're
Had-
mute, Robin.
He had brain surgery yesterday.
Yeah.
Was it rain? All right.
Yeah, I think he was having his shunt replaced.
And he was hoping that the doctor would replace it once he got into his brain and looked at it. And
Yeah,
I thought that would be the perfect thing for us to affirm that the doctor did that Rand
Yes.
wanted.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I hope it happened that way.
yeah. I'm just holding that sweet man in my loving heart. He has been through the ringer. Talk about,
And I don't know if he had a shunt his whole life, because I used to work with children who had shunts, or whether it's just a recent thing. I don't know.
I think it's just happened within the last few years since he has had to be put in the facility. So, yeah.
So maybe
Yeah.
it'll really help to get a
That
shunt to
would
get the
be really
pressure
cool.
off his
Yeah.
brain and spinal cord. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, help deal with the pain, if nothing else. Absolutely. So,
And sometimes I will see him at the 9 o'clock when he feels that he can come. And it's very rare for Rand to, his voice is strong, he just sounds so present. And again, there's hope for me in my own healing to see someone, because it sounds pretty drastic, as I don't want to call Deborah that, but I know that she is healing our world through her physical well-being, her physical being. That's the work she's doing for herself and for others. And so I see him in that same place,
yeah.
working through this physical concern.
Yeah. Me too. Thank you, everybody. So we are next week, Manual for Teachers. Let's just start with the introduction. It's just one page, but I'm sure it's going to be full of goodness. So we're going to start with the introduction in the Manual for Teachers. This is a short book, so yeah, we'll get through it quickly, I'm sure. And again, going through the Song of Prayers and the psychotherapy pamphlets after that. So if you don't have them, you can get them online for free in PDF form and look through them that way. You don't have to purchase the actual physical books. And then we will go to the purple book, the Circle of Atonement version of A Course in Miracles. So yeah, I won't keep y'all any longer. Our lesson today was let me not bind your son with laws I made. So I'm not binding us by having to read that whole thing. How about that? Thank you, everybody. I love you. See you next week.
Thank you.
Mhm.